What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another video on the West Ham Way YouTube channel. Today is the 31st of January. A massive, amazing year has come to an end for West Ham fans. And, what a year it's been. Winning our first trophy in decades, the first one in my lifetime, maybe the last one in my lifetime too. I mean, who knows with the way football is. But, what an amazing year for West Ham United. I mean, it's crazy. So much has happened this year. And, we finished it off in a great place, 6th in the league as things stand. I believe, obviously, I can't exactly remember the United result yesterday, but, we've done amazing. It's been a brilliant year. And I think if we were going to have any New Year's resolutions for next year, it would be to stop getting players injured. It looked like we were actually doing that halfway through this season. And then obviously it's come back to creeping us again. West Ham are a club that is known to be injury ravaged. I mean, we just love a big injury, don't we? We love signing injury prone players. At one point, we were the only team in the league without any injuries. And it looks like we've definitely alleviated that now. It looks like we are well on our way to, to getting back to the West Ham we know and love. The West Ham that signs a player that gets an injury that a doctor has only seen like 3 times in his entire life. And he's one of the absolute specialists in the country. So, I mean, that's what West Ham normally are in for. But it is worrying, all jokes aside, it is worrying because our squad faces a really tough challenge between January and February. It looks like Mikel Antonio, I mean, supposedly he was going to be back, but he's not back. So we're not exactly sure what's going on with that. Aged seems to be injured every single week. Azuma has a recurring knee injury, and I'm not sure how long he can honestly keep that up for. Jarrod Bowen as well has been out at times, obviously not really so far this season with injuries. Lucas Paqueta pulled up with an injury against Arsenal. He said it was only going to be a week, which would insinuate he probably might just miss the Brighton game. But I mean, there's no telling how long the injury will actually be. Areola's been out with an injury. Mavropanos has been out with an injury. We've had illnesses as well, ravaging through the squad. It's been we do get a fair few injuries, and yes, it's not as many as probably like Newcastle or etc. But the other thing is that we're dealing with AFCON, and the big issue with that is that we're losing probably our most informed player at the moment in Mohamed Kudus. I mean, it's hard to really put him up against Jarrod Bowen, but I'd say he's probably our most informed player at the moment. He's been absolutely incredible for us, and not only do you worry about not having him, but if he goes out to Ghana and gets injured, that's crazy for us. If he goes out to Ghana and I mean, he's in a rhythm right now. He's scoring week in, week out. He's playing well. He's adapted to the teammates. If he goes out to Ghana and to the Ivory Coast for Ghana, and he does what he's doing there, and he doesn't play very well, then that can quite easily, translate into, I haven't played well AFCON. Oh, hopefully I get back to it. Oh no, I'm not playing well in the Premier League. Oh, it's all snowballing, But then, he might come back an even better player somehow because he might have an incredible AFCON. And also we're losing Nayef Aged. So if we're losing Kudus, then that means that we don't really have a replacement at right wing. Well, say if we're losing Kudus, we are losing Kudus. The only positive for us is that it might not be a month, because potentially what we might do is say, well, if you were to lose or get knocked out, come straight back and join us in the Premier League. And I think that is something that does happen and is allowed. But anyway, let's pretend that it's going to be a month. During that month, I mean, how are we going to set up? Bowen's got that striker position. Mikel Antonio will not be back fit. Danny Ings isn't really an option. Moyes doesn't trust Mubama yet. Bowen's scoring and producing at striker, so it doesn't really make sense to put him back to right wing. And if you're going to put him back to right wing, when Kudus comes in, he's going to go back to striker. So it kind of would make more sense just to fulfill Kudus' spot. And Ben Rama has not been selected for the Algeria squad, so he will be available, surprisingly. So potentially maybe he takes that right hand spot. Maxwell Cornet maybe takes it. I mean, I'm not sure. It does honestly put a massive dent in the team not having Kudus there, because it's probably the position that we're most short on, considering that Bowen's kind of our resident striker at the moment. Then you look at the centre-back pairing, and if Zuma was to stay injured and again goes to AFCON, I say if again he is going to AFCON, then we have to stick with Mavropanos and Ogbonna. And yes, that was a partnership that blossomed against Arsenal, but I don't think Ogbonna can play 8 games in a month and put in top draw performances the way he did. Mavropanos has clearly got a bit of a mistake in him, so that's a little bit worrying as well. And obviously, in that month, with all the fixture congestion and the way the league's going at the moment, we might pick up even more injuries. As soon as you get a centre back injury, to be fair, you got Tilo Kehrer, which I always forget exists for West Ham because he never gets any minutes. But as soon as you get an injury to, let's say, Bowen got injured during that time, you're without Bowen, you're without Kudus. Who's going to be scoring your goals? Paqueta, we don't know how long that injury is going to be. I know he says a week, but again, players often really underestimate how long their injuries are, and also they underestimate whether the manager is willing, to play him, because at the end of the day, he played in that warm-up more, against the sort of wishes of the medical team. He played the game. The medical team obviously cleared him for it, but sort of said, oh, you're a bit injured, but you're probably fine to play. The last thing Moyes is going to do is go on your word and you'd be like, oh, mate, I'm feeling great. Play me in the next game. He's going to say, well, no, because last time we did that, you ended up having to come off, and, we don't want to keep stressing injury. So we're going to give you a little bit of rest time. So it is a little bit of a crunch time for West Ham at the moment, and it is tough to see where we can go. But this is the time where we need to be using fringe players, get Benrahma some minutes, get Fornals some minutes, get Cornet especially some minutes. Tilo Kehrer has to get some minutes in there as well. I mean, the midfield looks relatively unimpacted. I mean, obviously Ward-Prowse isn't massively injury prone. Souček would, I think, probably just bulldoze through anything. He's not really injury prone. Alvarez, to my knowledge, isn't massively injury prone. I know he had a bit of an injury or a bit of a knock this season, but I don't think he's massively injury prone. And Paqueta is not massively injury prone, despite the fact he's just picked up an injury. So the midfield looks fairly certain to stay the way it is. But again, if Emerson gets injured, I don't think Creswell can stick in there. Soufal gets injured. I like Kehrer, but is he going to produce as well as Soufal is at the moment? The only benefit for us is that the January transfer window does open, obviously, in January. So I think AFCON starts on the 11th of January or the 13th, and then finishes on the 13th or 11th of February. It's one of the 2 dates, whichever of the two. I think it's the 13th to the 11th, I believe. I think it's the 11th, 13th. I don't know. Either way, we can sign players, obviously, in January. The only issue being that supposedly we need to raise funds. So we've just spoken about the fact that we've got all this kind of depth in the squad. Well, Benrahma looks like he's set to go to Olympique Lyon, and Fornals looks like he's probably set to go to Spain. Then you've also got Aguerd, who looks like he might be out of favour. I don't think we'll sell him, but we might potentially sell him. Danny Ings potentially will leave as well in the January transfer window. That accompanied by injuries, accompanied by AFCON, it's going to leave us very, very light. And to be honest, I'm not sure exactly what our play is. Again, like I said, do we sit there and put Bowen at striker, put Cornet at right wing, put Benrahma at right wing? Because the issue for us as well is that if we say to Benrahma, for instance, oh, well, you're vital, we need you for January, he might say, well, boss, I want to leave. I'm not going to just play during January and then not play for the rest of the season. I'd rather just go to Olympique Lyon, which means that we need to then sign a player, which is a lot more difficult than you think. Having to sign a player for the right price. They don't want to waste their money. Loans are always options, but it's difficult. If Fornals is the same thing, boss, I don't want to just, I get barely any game time as it is. We agreed that I was going to leave in January just because AFCON's here, and you've lost Benrahma already to Olympique Lyon, and so-and-so's injured, does not mean I'm going to sit here and waste my career playing football here. It just doesn't work for me. So as much as the January transfer window might be a plus for us, it could also be a pretty big loss for us, with other teams coming in, with us not being able to, not only, if you're going to have Benrahma leave, you've got to replace him. That means that you can't then have that extra body on top of Benrahma, because you're not going to get 2 left wingers, are you? If Benrahma stays, obviously it's our choice. It's going to be a bit of a mad January, I think. And if there's ever a time for us to pull through and get some good results, it will need to be between that stage of January and February when we've got AFCON, being without Mohamed Kudus. Obviously, I don't wish Ghana to not do well at the World Cup, at the AFCON. But, you know, if they were to, you know, maybe get knocked out a little bit early, you know, I wouldn't be like totally against it. But look, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. It is a massive strain. I just wonder, you know, if you have to make that West Ham squad your overall best lineup, and you can't use Kudus, you can't use Antonio, you can't use Aged, what lineup would you be going for? That's what I want to know from you guys, because to be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure. I think the only real like for like swap is probably, I say like for like is quite harsh actually, or flattering, is putting Cornet on the right hand side, because he's direct like Kudus. He can attack if he needs to, and he's got a good shot on him and a good eye for goal. That would be my sort of, and probably I'd love to play Kerr at centre back, but I think maybe a little bit too short potentially. He's not got the stature that Ogbonna's got. But I think Kerr and Mavropanos will make a decent partnership if Zuma and Aged, or obviously Aged's off at AFCON. Zuma's a little bit injured. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down below. Obviously, tomorrow is the new year, so happy new year to all of you Hammer fans. Thank you for obviously joining us during this journey in 2023. 2024 is going to be just as massive, and of course, stay tuned during 2024, because as always, in January, that is our prime time. That is when we're going to be putting out so many videos for the January transfer window, all of them coming from X with some exclusive content. And of course, we are giving away a shirt every single month. That is going up to the end of the season. We do plenty of giveaways. It's lots of good fun. So stay tuned with this. Bring it. Don't just watch this video in 2023 and then not join us in 2024. You've got to join us in 2024. With the transfers and, you know, daily videos, hopefully. So, guys, I'll see you in 2024. Let me know what you think our team should be down below, and I'll see you in the next one.